Imagine stepping into the old, heavy elevator of a notorious historic hotel, pressing a long row of buttons and waiting for the doors to close, only to realize that you are completely trapped in a living nightmare where reality itself seems to bend around you. Imagine looking out into a dark, silent corridor, waving your hands frantically as if speaking to an invisible entity, and hiding in the corners of the carriage before stepping out into the shadows and vanishing from the face of the earth forever. This is not a scene from a Hollywood found-footage horror film. It is the absolute, chilling, and historically documented reality of Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old Canadian student whose mysterious disappearance and subsequent discovery in 2013 shocked the entire world. The internet was paralyzed when the Los Angeles Police Department released a 4-minute security video of Elisa inside the elevator of the infamous Cecil Hotel, triggering a wave of global panic, amateur investigations, and terrifying theories that blended modern true crime with paranormal horror. To truly understand the baffling depths of this case, we must look past the viral internet rumors and examine the precise, step-by-step reality of what happened inside that cursed building from the very beginning to the final medical diagnosis. In late January 2013, Elisa Lam arrived in downtown Los Angeles as part of her solo vacation across the west coast of the United States, a journey she actively documented on her personal social media blog with excitement and curiosity. She decided to check into the Cecil Hotel, a budget-friendly establishment that, unknown to her, carried a deeply disturbing and blood-soaked history stretching back to the 1920s. The Cecil Hotel was infamous for hosting notorious serial killers like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and was the site of dozens of unexplained suicides, brutal murders, and unexplained tragedies over the decades. Elisa, who had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder but was managing her condition well with prescribed medication, kept in constant contact with her worried parents in Vancouver, calling them every single day to give them updates on her travels. However, on February 1st, 2013, the very day she was scheduled to check out of the hotel and travel north to Santa Cruz, her daily phone calls suddenly stopped, plunging her family into immediate panic and prompting them to contact the police. When the Los Angeles Police Department arrived at the Cecil Hotel, they launched an immediate and thorough missing person investigation, searching her room, which remained perfectly intact with all her belongings, wallet, and ID left behind. They brought in trained K-9 units to search the entire property, including the hallways, the common rooms, and even the heavily restricted rooftop. But the dogs completely lost her scent, leaving detectives with absolutely zero physical evidence. Out of sheer desperation to generate leads, investigators reviewed the hotel security tapes and discovered the last known footage of Elisa Lam alive, recorded inside one of the hotel elevators in the middle of the night. The video showed Elisa stepping inside, pressing multiple floor buttons simultaneously, and becoming visibly agitated. When the heavy steel doors refused to close, she began peering frantically out into the hallway, stepping in and out of the elevator, contorting her hands in bizarre fluid motions as if conversing with someone hidden in the blind spots, and ultimately walking away into the darkness while the doors finally closed behind her. The viral release of this unsettling video caused a massive public uproar, but the true horror of the case did not manifest until 2 weeks later, On February 19, 2013, when hotel guests began launching horrific complaints about the building's water system. Guests reported that the water pressure in their rooms had dropped to a miserable trickle, and that the water coming out of the bathroom faucets was discolored, black, and carried a profoundly sickening, foul taste and odor. The hotel administration dispatched a maintenance worker named Santiago Lopez to the roof to inspect the 4 massive 4,000-gallon municipal water tanks that supplied the entire building's drinking and washing water. Lopez climbed a maintenance ladder, opened the heavy, unsecured hatch of one of the main water tanks, and looked inside with his flashlight, only to freeze in absolute terror as he discovered the naked, bloated body of Elisa Lam floating face-up in the water. The complex and gruesome process of recovering her body required the Los Angeles Fire Department to completely cut through the thick steel walls of the water tank, turning a missing person case into a full-blown international crime scene investigation. The legal and medical investigations into Elisa Lam's death left absolutely no room for open endings, successfully resolving the mystery with concrete scientific facts and detailed forensic analysis. In June 2013, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office released the highly anticipated final autopsy report, officially ruling that Elisa's cause of death was accidental drowning, with absolutely no signs of physical trauma, sexual assault, or internal bleeding that would indicate foul play. The comprehensive toxicology screens came back entirely clean, showing no traces of illegal drugs, alcohol, or toxins in her system, but they did reveal an extremely critical piece of evidence regarding her mental health. The tests proved that while Elisa had her prescribed bipolar medications in her bloodstream, the levels were remarkably low, indicating that she had been under-medicating or completely avoiding her pills in the days leading up to her disappearance. Forensic experts and psychological specialists concluded that Elisa Lam suffered a massive, severe psychotic episode triggered by the lack of proper medication, causing her to experience intense hallucinations, paranoia, and panic inside the elevator. In her terrifying, delusional state, she mistakenly perceived the hotel environment as a threat, climbed the fire escape stairs to the roof, crawled into the open water tank to hide from her imaginary pursuers, and unfortunately became trapped inside, leading to her tragic and accidental death. Now, looking back at this incredibly tragic and deeply analyzed case, do you believe that the dark history of the Cecil Hotel played a psychological role in triggering her severe episode? Or was this simply a heartbreaking medical tragedy that could have happened anywhere? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.